Okay, welcome back to week 4 for AER220. I'm Adam, your instructor. I just want to cover again the items that you've got to complete this week. You have 2 sections of reading to supplement your 4 Jeppesen online ground lessons. Feel free to review the reading sections as necessary to supplement, but the primary is the Jeppesen Online Ground School. You'll also have a discussion on an NTSB report referring to ATC clearances. At this point in time, you're going to start learning a little bit more about the ins and outs of the clearances associated with your departures and arrivals. So that's a good way to get started on that, and I look forward to the lively discussion with you on that. So as for the material, you're going to be introduced to departure procedures. Now, departure procedures are predefined routes that ATC needs to have you fly once given clearance to avoid either traffic or obstacles. So look forward to learning about that. Now, usually they're for higher performance aircraft such as turbojet or turboprops, but you may be required to conduct a departure procedure even in a Cessna 172 if you're at the right airport at the right time. So be ready for that, and this is how you get that way. They're probably also going to contain altitudes and courses. These are predefined and predetermined, and they need you to be there when they need you to be there. In other words, if you start to diverge from those courses, they will remind you. You'll also have to compensate for climb gradients with departure procedures. So the standard IFR climb gradient, as for TERPS criteria, is 200 feet per nautical mile, which translates to about a 3.3%. And a lot of the bigger airplanes use a percentage for these climb gradients, but it's up to you to determine if you can meet the climb requirements for a particular departure procedure. If you can't, it could present a threat of an obstacle or traffic in the area, because ATC might be routing traffic underneath you and you might not see them. Once you progress through departure procedures, you're going to move on to holding. Now, holding tends to be a very big point in flight training for instrument. And the reason I say it as this, it's going to take you from the short essay that you have, compensating for just the instruments that you learn in the first stage of your flight training, and it's going to move you to actually concern about where your aircraft is in addition to which side's up inside the airplane. So keep that in mind. This is usually a big step for most instrument pilots when they're learning to get their instrument rating. What I need you to concentrate on as you're going through the material is you need to master the entries and understand how they work. If you don't get enough information from the ground lessons or Jeppesen textbook, the AIM actually has a pretty good write-up on holds as well, including compensating for wind, because your primary concern is your ground track, which means the wind will have to be compensated for. So I want you to get really good at doing that. Now, in addition to that, I need you to start learning how to visualize the hold entry procedures in your head. You get into that practice, then by the time you get out to the airplane, it becomes very second nature for you because you're going to be a little bit busy inside of the airplane. In addition, I want you to pay attention where that wind is coming from. You will be required to compensate for wind, and if you have an especially windy day, it can be very challenging when conducting a hold. So these, coupled with the advanced situational awareness required of hold, usually cause a bit of a plateau in people's flight training. So I look forward to engaging that challenge with you, and hopefully you enjoy it, as it will proceed right into the next stage after that, which includes more about approaches, where you actually start feeling like you're doing something with this instrument rating. So, departure procedures and holds are the 2 primary emphases for this week. In addition to that, you're going to do the NTSB report concerning air traffic control clearances. So hopefully by now, with the material up to this point, you've gotten pretty good at some of these clearances. I look forward to engaging it with you, and I'll see you next week for week 5.